welcome to Episodes of Gaming, which is the wrong intro for this. This is Eternal Rambles, and my name is Aaron.
I'm Kodig.
And I'm Ryan.
Yes, I was doing editing earlier, and it's like, Imbeciles of Gaming is like, that's the wrong show.
I mean, I wouldn't mind doing an Imbeciles of Gaming.
I mean, you're gonna get on eventually. It's just a lot of the games that you want to play and that we want to play with you requires us to have
Our console.
and currently we don't have the means to, because there's no way we're fitting all three of us around the computer.
Yeah, maybe next week I might actually be able to get the Elgato.
Maybe.
Elgato.
But a funny things talking about Imbeciles of Gaming is we're actually talking about games once again today, but a different kind of conversation about games. We're talking about today the difference between a linear plot and storyline lovingly crafted by a creator and giving gamers the freedom of choice for like sandbox exploring, multiple endings and everything, stuff like that. So we're not necessarily talking about which one is better, because obviously one is very good at one thing and the other one's very good for another thing. But we're just going to talk about which ones we prefer, which ones...
You have insulted me, Ryan.
What?
By adjusting your microphone.
In the middle of this recording.
recording.
Well, he does have the odd man out mic stand and the odd
I
man
have
out
the
microphone.
crap mic stand, the crap microphone.
Okay, I'll give you the mic
second.
stand. Again, that microphone is not crap. We have
Yes,
proven
it
this.
is. It is crap.
I will 100% give you. You have the crap mic stand.
No, that mic. Not all the mic stand really needs is a counter around the back, like I used to put on it whenever I was using it.
Or just some duct tape.
You neophyte.
Anyways.
Let's go ahead. We talked about Skyrim last week, so I feel like we already had a brief opinion. Like you got a brief idea of our opinions on open world games. So let's focus on more of linear. And then there's another conversation we're gonna have later is when they blend them together.
Oh yeah, like
Kingdom Hearts
yeah.
or other things like that, where it's like it's open world exploration,
it's
but you
semi-open world,
follow a main story through it.
Yeah. I think one of my favorite when it comes to like linear
Yeah,
games,
linear. Let's talk about linear first.
Linear games, I think a perfect example of how to do that game right in general. Actually, two examples, both made by the same company.
Okay.
The Last of Us and Uncharted is the perfect example on how to do a linear storyline right. See, it doesn't have open worlds. I mean, there's Uncharted 4.
I played the very first Uncharted and there's
1,
like
2,
a
3.
tiny little bit of
there's
exploration.
Tiny little bit of exploration. There's exploration within a linear.
There's exploration
area.
within a box.
Here
is your box.
It's not like an open
Go
world.
explore in your box.
Yeah.
I think but The Last of Us, however, really just nails that linear storyline where you get just enough to be able
But
to
you don't
satisfy
feel like
you.
you're being pushed down a corridor.
Exactly. You don't feel like you're being pushed down a corridor, but you still get that linear.
I just realized that the overhead fan is on, so this might be interesting for the audio. We'll find out. So basically we'll find out if the fan at the beginning of the audio messed with the audio or not, and
Fucking doubt it.
I doubt it. Which means, hey, if we listen back to this and it's like that's fine, then we can have a fan on in here while we record, which will be fantastic.
Even
Yeah,
more reason
'cause,
for me to wear a coat.
3 big dudes. I have several game systems sitting in here.
Not touching all the lights when we're doing other things.
And all the heat. Yeah, it
Yeah.
would be nice. But The Last of Us, one of my favorite games of all time. I think the combination of the storytelling mixed with that little bit of exploration that you do get, because like it doesn't make you feel cornered. It lets you find
Resources.
It doesn't let you feel cornered. Several clickers start coming around the corner. Oh no, I'm cornered.
Yeah. Sad.
No, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It doesn't make you feel like you're just walking along
down
a
a
straight line.
Yeah, a
But
corridor.
it still lets you get a little bit of leeway in finding resources, guns, stuff like that, or even just comic books for Ellie, and a lot of other things. And I just think it's the perfect example on how to do that linear playstyle right.
Well,
another fantastic example, in my opinion, is Doom. Doom is amazing. It is very much a linear game.
Linear.
Linear game. You follow
say.
linear stories throughout the entirety of the game. Also, you follow it with a silent protagonist who is It's amazing when you consider what he's having to deal with that he's so silent.
He's a silent protagonist like Link is a silent protagonist.
Actually, he doesn't even grunt.
He doesn't even grunt.
I've heard him grunt.
He rips demons apart without even grunting. He just kind of goes, done.
That's a grunt.
I don't think he grunted in the original. Maybe in the remake.
No, he did. When he took damage, he
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
I don't know.
whenever he
I've
got
never
hit.
played Doom.
That's what I meant. He's a silent.
Which is funny.
He's a silent protagonist who
I've never
is,
played
you know,
Doom, but I have played Duke Nukem on my Sega Saturn.
Heresy!
Of all things.
never. Dude, the original Duke
It's
Nukem
just
was
because I had it.
the original
I only
Duke
played it
Nukem
because I
was
had
fine.
it.
The original Duke Nukem was fine.
Duke Nukem 3D.
I have Doom and I have Doom Eternal. You're playing them.
I have both on my Xbox.
You're playing them.
We bought those
Okay,
games
okay,
together.
Ryan.
playing.
Ryan. Kodig is a known procrastinator on playing any game
This is
ever.
true.
I'm
You
just now
still
getting to
need-
Halo.
You still
I'm
need to
just now
finish
getting to
Dragon
Halo.
Age 2. After Dragon Age 2, you're playing Doom.
I think what makes this story so funny, right? What makes this story about Doom so funny is the fact that when me and Ryan went to go buy Doom, Ryan bought Doom for the PS4, and at the same exact time, I bought Doom for the Xbox One. And then we both bought Doom Eternal.
But just the case,
metal
no
cases
game.
With no game, just the case. So then we went back and he bought Doom Eternal for the PS4, and I bought Doom Eternal for the Xbox One.
Because nowhere on the label did it say no game included. It was just the
Exactly.
metal case. Like,
We just
wow,
saw
Doom
15
Eternal for $15? That's crazy!
Yeah, exactly. Why would
It comes in an amazing case. Like, it is an amazing metal case.
It is.
Which is why I've now, every time I was like, oh, this is a really great price for this item. Reads the entire
What is it
description
really?
first. It's like when I was looking at 2 terabyte hard drives, like it's like $50, $40, $60, $6. Reads everything. Oh, this is just a case. This is a holder for hard drive. You sneaky bitch. So Doom being a linear game, I know it's a corridor game.
Yeah.
It's
It's kind of like Halo in that aspect.
really, it's
Well,
actually kind of not.
the original Doom.
The original Doom might have been a corridor game. My only memories of it is watching Mr. Steve play it while I was being babysat as a very
I
little
thought
kid.
Mr. Steve was a YouTuber. I'm like, I've never heard of
me
that
neither.
person.
No, it was one of the older guys, older gentlemen, older people who used to babysit me when I was in like elementary school and whatnot.
Stare at you.
Mr. Steve and Miss Nancy, they're absolutely wonderful people.
Well, what about you, Aaron? Give me a prime example of a
Linear
stand-up
game
linear game that you just
that
think
you've
does
played.
it right.
I really love Asura's Wrath. That game is
That
anime
is-
as
that
fuck
is-
as anyone
that
who's
game
anyone's ever
is
seen or heard or
amazing.
anything about that game. It is anime as fuck.
And it is a massive
Asura's
revenge
Wrath?
quest.
Asura's Wrath. Basically, it's a story about there were these 7 deities who were basically their responsibility was to reject the will of the earth because the earth's will was to destroy itself. And they used the prayers and belief of the people that lived on that planet to create mantra that they then used to defend the planet.
Although
And
originally
then-
they weren't gods, they were just powerful warriors.
Yeah, but then
know
one
who-
of the
Usurped.
Speaking of anime as fuck and open worlds, I need to go into a quick tangent real fast. So
I
I've
love
been
how you're
trying-
like, "Hey, Aaron, give me a game," and I just
No.
start explaining. You're like,
You-
"By the way,
By the way, now wait.
Shush.
One
I mean,
second.
No,
I do it.
no.
I do it enough. I can give this one to Kodig.
I've recently started. I bought an Xbox 360 recently, right?
Yeah.
For the first time in my life, I own an Xbox 360. So I decided to play some of the games that we had for the Xbox 360 that we didn't know weren't backwards compatible with the Xbox One. So I started playing this game. I think it's called, what is it, Star Ocean, or something like that.
I don't know. Don't ask us. We don't know.
I don't know. I don't have the
one
game.
that you bought, Ryan.
Hold on, give me a
Star
second.
Ocean?
Where is this
it's
game?
in the living room.
Well, then I can't.
Oh wait, no, it's not. It's right there. I bought it off you when I bought the Xbox off Aaron.
Yeah, it looks like anime StarCraft with some.
Yeah,
other
so like I started it, got to the first.
You started it while talking to me and our other roommate. Had no idea what was going on because he's only half paying
And
attention.
now I don't know what the fuck is going on?
He's stuck in
I'm
the opening
stuck
area.
In the opening area.
You
Now,
don't
I
know
know
what
it's
to
an
do.
open world game, semi-open world, kind of like Final Fantasy X, something like that. Semi-open world, but I don't know what the fuck I'm supposed to do.
Well,
and there's no way to backtrack and say,
Should restart.
hey, what am I supposed to
You
do?
just started. Should
I
restart.
don't want to restart.
well, here.
That's just bad game design. No,
Cody,
it's not
here.
necessary.
It's bad game design. How
I'll
dare I not know
start
what's
it.
going on when I'm not paying attention?
I will start the game after this
Probably better do it
Thing.
tomorrow.
Yeah, we got an hour before we go to bed. Whatever this is. Podcast. There we go.
Yeah.
After this podcast, I'll start the game, and you can watch me go through the game, and you'll understand what you need to do next. Okay?
Okay. That's work.
Your phone went off. How dare it?
Oh no, my phone went off.
Yeah, but when it comes to those linear storytelling, I think I prefer kind of a mixture in between, because like when it comes to, you don't want something that's just purely linear unless it's simple.
I completely disagree. Asura's Wrath, as I was saying, it's a couple of different kinds of things. It combines basically running guns, shooting sections, one-on-one boss battles, one versus many multi-combat, and it all blended together for different parts of the story. And
it's amazing.
And it's a really great story.
What I mean by a pure linear experience is something like Crash Bandicoot.
Here's the thing.
Not even Sly Cooper.
Coding.
Something like Mario. You don't like if unless it's like a simple.
Well, obviously not Odyssey because
not Odyssey, but like unless it's like a simple game.
Thing is though, you mentioning Crash Bandicoot and Mario, those are simple games though.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
Give us
unless it's a simple
then give us an
game.
example of a game that's very very linear that isn't simple. If you don't like it, then give us an example of something that's gone wrong.
That's not what I'm saying. Is I'm saying I don't think you can like do it.
Yeah, you
like
can.
a purely linear story.
Yeah.
Visual novels do it all the time.
Visual novels do it all the time.
But that's just a whole different kind of game.
But it's still a game.
It's still a game, and it's a very linear game.
Well, even then you have branching stories.
Not always.
Not really.
Like
Not
what?
always.
I was playing
Every Love Struck that I am.
That is not
offended with
that's
is a
mobile
visual
games.
novel.
Those don't count.
Still a game?
That's
Still a game.
still a game.
And
No.
it's still a very good
We
one.
do not
Especially
count
Helena
mobile
route.
games.
Okay,
Totally down for Atlanta.
basic thing is that whether it's mobile or not, there are other games like it where basically the only choice you have is at the very, very beginning of the game, you choose one of the characters and then you go through their story. So
And
it's
occasionally
different
you pick
stories.
Specific, you have little dialogue things. They don't really mean.
They mostly
anything.
they most
They're mostly there for your own internal flavor.
the one for your own paternal flavor, and also sometimes they'll unlock additional scenes.
But I'm talking about like true games, like true.
They're true games.
They're true games.
Games that aren't made on the phone for the phone.
I've already said that there are games that aren't.
like what?
There are other games.
I'm just asking for an example.
I literally gave you an example. I don't remember the name
I'm
of the
t-
game. I don't remember the name of
Halo.
the game, but there are plenty of games like that.
Halo is an extremely complex, linear
But
game.
but
that is
that's what I'm saying.
amazing.
That's what I'm saying. I like it, but it's not a pure linear experience because there's still exploration to do
Not
within
really.
each level.
Not
Okay,
really.
well then in
There's-
Crash Bandicoot and
it's
Mario, there are
extremely
exploration because there are
legend-
secret hidden paths. There are exploration in those
yeah,
games.
it's really it is not any less linear than
Okay.
Crash Bandicoot.
The kind
It's
of
just
game that
bigger.
that you're basically describing is basically
Point A to point B.
it's literally that'd be like cookie clicker or tap the mayonnaise, where literally you hit a button
Or
and you
racing
progress.
games. You like racing games. Racing games are linear
They're
games.
incredibly linear.
They're incredibly linear games. They're about as linear as you can
Well,
get.
It's literally
Forza-
point A to point B.
Forza is 100% not a linear. It's literally an open world game. It's the complete opposite of linear.
Okay, but there
But
are a
I
lot of other
understand
racing
what
games.
you're saying.
There you go.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying. But not all racing games are pure. Need for Speed, Payback, I think is what it is. That's an open
A
world.
very lot of many
Forza-
of them.
All the Forza
are.
Most of them
Horizons.
are very, at their core, they are very linear games.
Yeah. Flat Out isn't. Well, the new one is.
Well, the thing is, that's when you have, like, blended games. Like, for example, like, Saints Row. It's like, the story of Saints Row is incredibly linear, but there's a hub world where basically you can explore and move around and drive and then other things like that.
I like, when it comes to that, in all honesty, my preferred types of games when it comes to overall. Like, obviously, if you look at, like, my favorite games of all time, a lot of them are linear, but, like, my favorite, like, get me into a game is kind of more open. Like, open world, exploration, open dialogue, different dialogue choices, different endings. Mass Effect is a prime example of that.
Mass
Open
Effect
world.
is a very linear game.
It's not linear
It's
at
hidden
all.
as there are open world sections. But Mass Effect
sections?
is a very
There's entirely
linear
different
game.
planets you can choose to explore.
Okay.
Oh, yes, and you go to
Completely
tiny
different storylines and
squares
quests.
of said planet.
Entire storylines and quests. Under that, that's like saying Dragon Age is an
Okay.
entirely linear game.
It is a very linear game.
Here are examples of games, in my opinion, that are too open. One, I've already talked about it before, Assassin's Creed Odyssey. The game
Odyssey
is
incredibly-
too open. The
Pretty much
map is too...
I don't know
all
if y'all
the
are big
latest
fans of Dynasty
Ubisoft
Warriors, but Dynasty
games
Warriors...
are incredibly
I didn't...
overly
No,
open
the
world.
original Assassin's Creed, I thought, was actually fairly tight.
Yeah, that's why I said the latest ones. Because
Assassin's
the problem
Creed
is
2 was pretty good. Assassin's Creed 3...
Okay, another example I have. I was mentioning another example I have, and Ryan's. He's either going to hit me, or he's gonna go, yeah. Shadow of Mordor. I started that game. I had the tutorial, and then it just dropped me in the world,
No,
and didn't
100% agree.
really give me anything. It's like, I'm obviously supposed to explore and kill and move on from like that, but like there was no like, it's like Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild is incredibly open, but it gives you very obvious. Okay, talk to that guy. He's like, I'll give you this thing if you do this for me. All right, I go for this thing. It's like,
I
okay,
disagree.
and then it goes to the hacker. It's like, all right, now your goal is to do this, but you have this entire open world to explore and find other things to do. I hate when you're dropped into a
disagree.
game and given no start. It's where it's like, what is obviously my goal is revenge in Shadow of Mordor. Obviously my goal is revenge. Obviously my goal is to find out the fuck that this thing inside of me is. But how do I start?
you walk around and you start.
Exactly. You walk
You have
around.
to
You have
find
to.
out
You
what
have
you
to
need to do.
stumble upon it.
I actually really like that. It's a very organic way to going about it. You don't just have a sixth sense. Oh, I need to go in this direction.
I was
See, but
thinking
the
it's like
game-
when a game like Minecraft, you have to discover on you wander on everything. But Shadow of Mordor, it's a very this is a very story driven game.
Why aren't you telling me what the story is? Why aren't you letting me access the story?
Especially when you have a very, very obvious way of communicating to the player with that wraith spirit inside of you. He at any point can be like, "Hey, dumbass, this way."
And he does.
But
He
not at the
literally
beginning.
Tells you in the first. He's like, okay, cool. We need to get to a tower so we can see what's going on. It's literally the first thing he does. Is, oh, hey.
I wouldn't know. I haven't fully.
No,
played
I tried to play Shadow Mordor. I gave it a couple of different attempts. Always at that beginning part, I'm like, the fuck am I doing? Okay, and there was I had 3. Oh, GTA Online. Now, that's a multiplayer game. So, you can kind of be like, you're supposed to play with your friends. It's like, yeah, but it's like, you let me create a character. You have this semblance of a backstory for this, and the idea is like, okay, you're making your way in Los Santos, and then it's like,
Yeah, and it just drops you in there.
and then just do things.
and then it's like, yeah. Then they eventually implemented like heist stuff like that, and then you have
Yes,
Then you have Red Dead Online, which actually very much starts you with a story mode, and you're supposed to go
That's too
through
short.
and do these
That's
things,
way
but it's
too
incredibly too
short.
short, and then you're just left with the open world, and it's like, well, now I'm just dallying about. I'm not actually accomplishing anything.
Yeah, now I'm just faffing about.
That's why you have a difference between a sandbox game like Minecraft, which is an actual sandbox game, where you have an objective, kill the Ender Dragon. That's the quote unquote objective of Minecraft. But you can do anything in that game. You can make games literally inside of Minecraft. People have done it again and again and again. People have made functioning computers inside Minecraft. So that's a game where it's like there is no direction in this game. But it's a creative tool. Little Big Planet, another example. You make the game. Super Mario Maker,
Dream.
Dreams. These are little games. It's an open game. You do it. I have no problem with those because they're creative tools. But if it's a game where I'm supposed to be playing game and I have mechanics and I have these things and there's supposed to be a story, quote unquote, you need to give me something to go on.
That is something that I will agree with. I don't have a big preference to one or the other. Open world versus
Ryan likes any game that either engages his brain or it's immediately apparent you're not supposed to think about it, just kill things. Those are the two games he enjoys.
Except Doom.
That's what Doom is.
Just kill things.
Just kill things,
Just kill
exactly.
I like it when we're gonna call this. We're gonna call this a platform or
What game?
no. Open world versus
linear.
What are we gonna call this? Is it gonna call this like a platform or a game type? I need a plural name for this without having to say open world and platform linear over and over and over again.
Sandbox or story driven?
Yeah.
I need something other than 3 words.
I don't know what you're asking of us, Ryan.
I need like a 1 word that describes the concept.
Linear. Open.
Player versus creator.
We'll call it like this, right? So
I don't know why you're being so like I can't. I it's so hard for me to use my tongue and speak.
I need a way to. I would like to have a way to refer to both of them as.
Ryan, the whole point of this is this is an incredibly broad topic. You pick any game, it will fall into one of these 2 categories.
I'll have to refer to both categories without saying
Games.
4 words.
Games.
Like here's an example.
I like it when the game mode fits the game. There. I've said the thing. For instance, why I hate Odyssey. Odyssey does not fit its game mode at all.
Are you saying Odyssey doesn't make sense as an open world game?
It does not make sense as an open world game.
I disagree.
It should have been way more linear than just completely open world.
Okay, I agree with that.
It's way more linear.
If they went with the Assassin's Creed 2 way of doing things, not necessarily.
The reason why I disagree with you about it shouldn't be open world is the fact of a lot of the Cult of Cosmos members, you can only discover their identity by doing side quests and by hunting and finding clues in the open world.
And that bit's fine, but it needs to be way more linear.
That's what I'm saying. Just the map just needs to be smaller. That's literally the solution.
Here's a prime example.
The game needs to be just a bit more linear.
Here's a prime example.
You get lost and you don't know what you're trying to do. You have a quest, but you don't really know where to find the people.
Yeah, there are map
quest
markers.
No, I agree. The map is just way too.
The map is big.
Way too big,
especially with way too much water.
Yeah.
Here's
like I said, a map size. A map can be as big as it wants, as long as it has a fun and viable and expedient. I shouldn't say quick. Say expedient mode of traveling around it.
Yes. Here's a prime example of a game that does open world concept right. Now I did it with linear. I'm doing it with open.
Okay.
Horizon Zero Dawn.
Never played.
Is probably one of my favorite
This is true.
open world games ever. Unfortunately, it came out the same year as
Breath of the Wild. And Breath of the Wild came out a little bit after it, but that was the game people were really waiting on. So it's like, oh, Horizon Zero Dawn is so good. Oh my gosh, you really should play this game. Legend of Zelda. But I was talking.
And this was me, the guy who didn't even have a Switch at the time.
Like, God,
so let me
thank
just play Zero Dawn.
Thank
right
the
quick.
Lord that Legend of Zelda didn't come out first, because then Zero Dawn, nobody would have played it.
Exactly. But Horizon Zero Dawn really does the open world concept really well. There is fast travel points. Points.
Yeah.
Now, it depends on what you get. The way they do the fast travel is you have to use resources to fast travel.
Yeah.
That you basically carry around.
You have to carry around packs to fast travel.
And then you have you have The Witcher, which has you can fast travel, but only from certain locations to certain locations.
So you have to determine, is it worth the resource to fast travel to this place, or should I just explore this world? And a lot of the times, whenever you're just traveling to your next quest marker, you find things that are just absolutely amazing. You find good resources. You find secrets, hidden stuff, and you just get to see this beautiful world that these creators have crafted.
Another thing I will say that goes really well, Horizon Zero Dawn does really, really well. Every creature in that game is viable from beginning to end.
What do you mean?
Unlike freaking Far Cry Primal.
You want fire stuff. You have to track down the machines to get the fire stuff.
Yep.
You want the cold stuff. You have to track down the machines that give you the cold stuff. And different machines give you different things. Different machines give you different parts. And you need all of the parts.
And it even makes some of the weaker
things.
enemies. It makes some of the weaker enemies. It's like, well, normally you would just run past these in any other game, but these enemies
guys
do have
give
specific
you
components
stuff that only these guys have, because the machine,
unless you want to spend money on
like machines. So each machine has very specific tools to achieve its goal.
Exactly.
And you need all of them to build your things.
Exactly. Now I know they have the golden fast travel pack that just gives you unlimited fast travel, but you don't get that until later in the game anyways. So at the beginning,
see, that's fine in my opinion. That's fine.
Explore this world, which I agree with 100%. You should have to, at least at the beginning, see the full world.
See, that's why most MMOs lock your ability to fly and have flying mounts after level 60s, because you have to spend those first levels actually exploring the game world.
Exactly. You need to be familiar.
I love open world games where you have fast travel, but you don't ever really want to, like Spider-Man. Or like Saints Row 4. There's fast travel in the game.
No
but
true Spider-Man doesn't web sling.
I saw Code fast travel the other day. We're playing Miles Morales.
Because he's not a true
trying to
Spider-Man.
get to my dad's grave, okay?
Not a true Spider-Man. Not a true Spider-Man.
And with the PlayStation 5,
shame on you.
There's no cutscene. You just get there.
That was the only reason why I thought fast travel was okay in Spider-Man PS4, because they had the little cutscene of Spider-Man being on the subway.
It was 4,000 meters away. I wasn't about to fucking sling that entire distance.
Then web zip.
Then weren't a true Spider-Man.
Then be a real Spider-Boy.
I was on a time restraint, okay? I had 30 minutes.
You're not a true Spider-Man.
There's no better use of your time than swinging throughout New York City, being the incredible Spider-Boy.
I wanted to get the trophies, okay? I was trophy hunting.
Not a true Spider-Man.
Yeah, but those games, I love games that offer you fast travel, but you never really want to fast travel. And then you have games where it's like you said with Horizon Zero Dawn, it's like you start off having fast travel be a very limited resource, and then it opens up as you go on, especially as the map gets bigger and it becomes way more inconvenient to walk or ride everywhere.
Yeah.
Which is why it's so annoying in Red Dead Online, where fast travel costs money, and you can only fast travel from certain fast travel points,
really
and it's incredibly annoying to get to some.
I think one of my other things,
and the further you get to fast travel, the more expensive it is.
I think one of my other favorite things about Horizon Zero Dawn when it comes to their traveling methods is that you can ride quite a few different types of God, what are they called?
Machines.
No, we'll just call them machines. You can ride.
There's a technical term, but
yeah, you can ride quite a few machines, and they are a blast to ride on.
Oh yeah, especially the big cat.
Yeah, exactly. You can ride on them. You can shoot other machines while on top of them, and it's like sporting. It's amazing. I freaking love it. I kid you not. In that game with the whole open world experience, right? I would literally just to upgrade all my items. I would literally just go hunting for like foxes and rabbits and stuff just to upgrade my pouches and stuff, and I had a blast doing it. I think those are the kind of games where the open world is used properly. It's full of life. There's things to do in every inch of this world.
It doesn't matter if you're in the middle of... And it's not empty busy work.
Exactly. It's not busy work. It's something that you actually enjoy doing.
Then you have other games.
And then you have Odyssey.
See, Origins I thought was actually a pretty decent middle ground.
Yeah.
Because up until, like I said, the very end of the game, where story beat made me not want to, I actually really liked going around. It's unfortunate. It's a desert, so there's not really a lot of ooh elements to it. It's mostly effective. Like,
excuse me,
what?
I saw the sun rise over some of those dunes. That shit was golden. Watching a golden sandstorm suddenly burst into flame with light was
not like a whole lot of
amazing.
buildings.
There weren't a whole lot of buildings. I'll give you that.
No,
There was city.
not talking about that. No,
Not a whole lot of sights to see.
You had amazing cliff faces.
In Skyrim, the first time you go up and you see the throat of the world, you're at the highest point, and then you look out and you can just see, or the first time you see the night sky in Skyrim, it's like there are so many gorgeous, incredible views.
Skyrim cheats. It's a fantasy world with like 3 moons.
All right, let me do another one. Assassin's Creed Valhalla. When you go to Vinland and you go to certain things, there are a lot of really incredibly beautiful scenery. Origins is in a desert. And unless it's sunrise over the golden sand, there's really nothing to see.
It was beautiful.
If you were in that exact same location in the middle of the day, you would not give a fuck.
No, I wouldn't. You would not give a shit. I'd be like, dear God, I'm lost. Where the hell am I going?
Here's a little tangent for me and of myself, because I'm the only one of us that
another
has
one?
played this game. Yeah, just a little bit. Gonna take over this one. You've had the last 9, I'll take over this one. No, I'm just kidding.
Whatever.
Just a little tangent, because I'm the only one that have played this game.
Well, you're fairly even on the Pokemon one.
It's kind of a mixture of the two. It's linear storytelling with an open world element in exploration.
Mm-hmm.
Persona 5 Royal specifically, the one that I played. It kind of combines, because
You're dating sim with monsters.
No.
That's the fetish part.
You're thinking of something else. I mean,
aren't there like 30 different love options or something in that game?
11.
There's 11.
There's 11, and you can romance
but
all
dating
of them.
dating is like literally only a portion of that game, like a small itty bitty portion of this big massive game. But what I'm saying is what it really does well is the linear storytelling.
I can't rule the world with only one ball. Can't you understand that?
I think one of my favorite, aspects of it is they give you all these different parts of the city, parts of Japan to explore, right? So you have all these different towns with different shops and characters that you can interact with in this massive game, or you can take characters to specific places that may not be accessible for you to just free roam in, but there's just a lot of options for places to go to, where every time you play through the game, you'll be finding things that you've never found before. Mm-hmm. Or you've never been to before, just because you didn't get the chance to experience it last time. Because it does have a time limit, technically. There's certain actions past time of the day. But then, not only do you have the main world to explore whenever you're, acting as a student, but once you're acting as a phantom thief and you go to the other realm, you have these giant dungeons of, like people's people's true hearts, and then you go to steal, and then you go to steal people's heart. But like it's so much more. They are dungeons. They are dungeons. But yeah, it's kind of like a dungeon delver. But there's just so much more to it than that, and it's one of those games that really does the exploration, open world versus linear storytelling. See, then really
there's a funny combination between where it's not really linear, but it's also not really open world either.
It's one of those.
No, not Persona. Dragon Ball Xenoverse 1 and 2. They're MMOs, but unlike other MMOs, there's no world to explore. There's a hub area, but it's not really that big. And then you go and you do missions, and
seems very linear.
It is linear, but the problem is you can choose to do other missions. There's a story, but then there's also these other things that's just you go, you do a mission, you come back, you go, you do a mission, you come back, you go, you do a mission, you come back, and it's
it's your basic MMO.
It's weird. MMOs, oftentimes, most of the time, have a world to explore. Like, even Destiny, where it has multiple mini sandboxes. You can just go and drop into a sandbox with nothing, no goal, no start, no nothing. Just explore. Xenoverse, you can't really do that.
Yeah, no, it's mostly just mission based.
It has a story. It has a story which is incredibly linear, but there's
also incredibly
there's also a whole
side stuff.
Yeah, it's so weird, but it still gives you these weird other options. It's like because you can't just do the story. You can't. You won't be strong enough if you just do the story. Like, you have to go off and do other things. You have to do some grinding. But even then, it's not really necessarily grinding because they give you missions and there's things to do. And some of the missions have their own little mini stories, and they're pretty fun when they're done well. Some of them not so.
Some of them not so well. That actually, with the whole open world, that brings up a game in mind that we're going way back to a game that started a legacy, right? However, going back to play this game nowadays, it's just not. It's not fun. You can't do it without a guide because you don't have. Legend of Zelda, the original.
Pac-Man.
The original Legend of Zelda. It started a legacy. Yes, I will give it that.
The legacy of Zelda.
The game itself. My God, does it take open world? Does it take open world way too fucking far?
Well, that's because it comes from an age when games didn't have maps.
Also,
there was no pause button.
And there's also the errors. Another thing you're thinking about this is the reason why games like that were designed the way that they were was kids back then got 1, maybe 2 games a year. So they needed to have a game
that was
either incredibly fun to replay or one that would last you a long time.
The biggest problem with it, though, is there's just so much stuff thrown in that you would just be like...
Well, that's the problem with today.
You
have the internet. Exactly. You have the thing. It's like,
how the hell would I know to do this? This wall that I'm supposed to explode looks exactly the same as every other wall in the game.
A lot of games in that era were designed to be, you were supposed to poke it with a stick until something happened and then go do
something else. I agree. But
yeah,
I just think
I get you. It is way over, especially for nowadays.
Well, that's for nowadays. When the game first, that's why it's like you.
That's just why I say it started a legacy. It did. It really did. But
it was an amazing
at
game
the time.
At the time.
But it's just not
now.
Not now.
Right.
It's not as
open world games are so prolific now and almost expected for so many games that freaking Mario has an open world game now with Mario Odyssey. And it's kind of ridiculous to me.
Because I bought a copy and then Aaron stole it.
I didn't steal it. I said, hey, can I
play this? He asked to play it and then...
You were not going to play it. It's like, oh, he took my game. Look at the other 95,000 games you have to play.
You still haven't played.
I'm currently playing through
like Dragon Age 2.
It's so ridiculous in my opinion because it makes me feel like game developers are so focused on graphics and fidelity and the ability to sink more than 5 hours into the game instead of crafting a well-written, good story with characters you like and want to interact with. It's like Kingdom Hearts 3, I already talked about, was a huge disappointment to me because it felt like they were spending more time in the worlds
and less time
on the actual stories that story that everyone cared about. And I understand. Halfway or some other percentage through production, they had to switch engines and lost most of their work, but the release date didn't change. I get it. I understand. I sympathize with that. Square Enix is kind of the worst, but it's like people were playing this game for the story and for the gameplay. And yeah, there were some worlds people wanted to see, but, you know,
Yeah, Kingdom Hearts 3 is a really big example of what I meant by
FYI, I have not played Kingdom Hearts 3 yet.
It's the funny thing is it's one of those things. It's
open world for its game, and it's focused so much on it that it fails to do its actual job.
Actually, it's funny. The Monsters Inc. world in Kingdom Hearts 3, incredibly linear. It's literally a corridor.
That one's linear.
That one's super linear. But then you have San Francisco and Port Royal and Toy Box, which I really like Toy Boxes mostly because it's not a wide, it's a tall map. It has floors. that you explore.
Also, the only reason why I really like Toy Boxes was Mech Warrior.
Also, Tangle was also pretty linear too.
I've just
Yeah,
never
but
been a big,
you had Rapunzel the entire
I've
time.
never been a
so you
big
didn't
fan
mind.
of Kingdom Hearts worlds in general.
Really?
But
There's a few that I absolutely do love.
Explore several Disney movies
Aaron
with
would
half the
hate me for
pacing and
this.
none of the charm.
Aaron would hate me for this, but
Okay.
Little Mermaid in Kingdom Hearts 2 is probably one of my favorite worlds.
It's the worst.
Just because I love the mini games.
Atlantico Kingdom Hearts 1 was already awful, and then Kingdom
Oh,
Hearts, it's just mini games.
absolutely horrible.
worst.
It is horrible in Kingdom
was
Hearts 1.
so
I
garbage.
can't fucking
I
dodge.
can't dodge, and I cannot block. Both of your defensive maneuvers
Oh,
gone.
God.
And that made
Only
it
thing you can do now is cast the wind spell or time it right to parry.
one of the most
And
bullshit
pray
boss
to God.
fights. Just because of the fucking world. Not even because like it's hard. It's just the world makes it hard.
And then the final boss of Ansem, it's basically because you're flying again, so you can't
yeah.
dodge and you cannot
exactly.
guard.
Exactly.
You just have to kind
Kingdom
of...
Hearts 1, good for the first game.
It was an incredible game. It was one of the flagship games of Kingdom Hearts 2. It spawned a series, one of the most ridiculous and most ridiculous fan fictions ever written.
My God, fix your combat system.
No, Kingdom Hearts 1 does not
flying or
play
in sea.
well.
Today.
But the story, to Lily Pete, they knew they were never going to get the ability to explore their own concept as much as they did in this one, which is why everything in Kingdom Hearts 1 is about exploring Disney worlds to uncover the plot. That's what
Tarzan's
what
world?
basically every single Kingdom Hearts game is. You explore these mini worlds to uncover the story.
Tarzan's World, garbage. Fucking hated it.
If you know what you're doing, it's not that bad.
Fucking
but trying to explore
garbage.
it the first time without knowing what you're doing is kind
Boring as fuck, terrible as fuck. The only world in Kingdom Hearts 1 that I thoroughly had a good time was Halloween Town.
It was Halloween Town.
It was fun.
The straight charisma of that place is great.
It's just fun. It's the only one that I can thoroughly remember having a good time in.
I kind of don't like Halloween Town in the games. My favorite's probably Kingdom Hearts 1 is probably my favorite world. It's gonna be weird. It's gonna say Hercules, even though there's really basically no exploration at all.
In every single game, with the exception of the third one, in every single game, Hercules World I fucking despise because it's so empty, so boring.
Kingdom Hearts
the
2.
tournaments that I hate doing.
Kingdom Hearts 2. You can
No, I hated it.
explore the underworld.
Yeah, but it's bad. It's bad.
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 My-
And I
my
love
only-
Hercules, but bad.
Okay, my only problem is that it brings me back to a thing I hate about Disney and a lot of Hollywood, actually, is the fact that they constantly make Hades the bad guy. He's not the bad guy. He's the only good guy.
Well, within this world, he's the bad guy, so we'll just.
He's voiced
we're
by
not gonna go
he's
into-
voiced by James Woods. What are you gonna do?
We're not gonna go into the whole like.
At least he's
philosophy thing.
likable.
We're talking about the games, not Greek lore here. Or
I'm
Greek,
a fast talker. Don't worry.
Greek. What's the word I'm looking for? Fucking
historical accuracy and
Mythos.
mythologically.
mythos. We're not gonna go into Greek mythos here.
It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. I'm calming down. But
Okay,
the only
okay.
reason why I don't like that world is because it reminds me of a thing that I don't like about Disney and most
That's
Hollywood.
fair enough. That's the same reason why I don't like Pocahontas, because Pocahontas is stupid.
Well, I don't have a problem with it personally when it comes to that. Is because it does what I agree all creatives have. What do I care if it's accurate?
Oh, I don't
If
necessarily
it's
care.
entertaining and tells a story.
I don't like that it's not accurate. I just don't like fucking Pocahontas.
Oh, I wasn't talking about that. I was.
Oh, you're talking about Hercules.
Well, I was talking about. I was specifically talking about Hercules, but here, let's go with that. Pocahontas, in my opinion, is not. I mean, I like parts of the movie. But
You're
none
doing a
of them
bad job.
overall.
Let me just kick you off of Pocahontas and
I
put
mean,
you
they-
onto Lion King.
I mean, they did kind of. They did kind of portray one part of history accurately. Both sides were kind of dicks,
Both sides are massively dicks.
and at the very end, they're also like, "Hold on, they're people."
Which was not what happened at all.
Oh.
Okay, let's talk about another open world
I
experience.
actually want to focus more on linear games because we've been talking mostly about open world games this entire. Let's focus on more linear games.
Okay. How about?
It's actually Sonic is actually pretty interesting because
Oh.
that's a game that is linear, but it's weird in its linearity. It has multiple paths toward the same
goal.
but you can't really explore because you go so fast.
You go so fast. You're basically going down like multiple different corridors.
and there's really no way to get back
So
after certain points.
this is going to be a sin
things.
against humanity, and I absolutely know it before I even say it.
Is the Mad Dragon gonna have to come over here and punch you?
No,
Okay.
no. Matter of fact, anyone that's not Mad Dragon probably. My favorite Sonic game is actually Sonic Unleashed.
Oh, okay.
Believe it or
I
not,
don't know that one.
Sonic Unleashed basically was a combination between normal Sonic 3D gameplay and then God of
Sonic
War.
is a werewolf.
That sounds amazing. Where is this game?
I have it on the Wii.
We both. I have it on the PlayStation 2.
I love
It's-
God of War. Let's
it's
do
fun
this.
as hell.
Or is it 3? Whatever.
It like a lot of people are like, oh man, classic
The
Sonic.
opening,
like the 3D.
the opening cutscene to that game is one of the best openings in any game I've ever played. Just watching the cinematic is like, play this game. Yes.
Yeah, this is
This is
good game.
great.
It's good
Yeah,
game.
sure. There are
Like,
probably
okay,
some
so
constant neckbeards out
here-
there who's like, it's not Sonic. Go away. It's
here's
Werewolf God of War
it's not.
Sonic. Go away.
It's not Sonic. It's incredibly different. You
here's
have
the
during
thing.
during the day sections, you have Sonic. You have fast running,
Fast-paced,
evasion based combat, and then you have like
linear-
3D and then 2D sections, and then at night it's a brawler. It's very much reminiscent of God of War because he can actually extend his arms, so he has those like smash attacks that go like 10 feet.
And it's fun. It's fucking fun. I don't understand why it gets so much hate.
The only issue I have with Sonic Unleashed is the fact of navigating to get to levels.
Yeah,
is kind
navigating
of a pain
is
in the
kind of a
ass.
pain in the
Because it's got
ass.
this weird, unclear hub world mini map thing
Yeah,
to do.
I agree with
It's
that.
really incredibly unclear. Like I got to like the Eggman, like the Egg Empire, whatever. I'm like, how did I get here? What am I doing? I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. But like the actual game itself, everything from the day sections with regular Sonic doing
Yeah.
this, it feels fun playing as Sonic in that game in the day sections because like you're really getting a good 3D experience with Sonic. Even the 2D sections are really nice.
Mm-hmm.
And then whenever you go into his Unleashed form, it's like you're playing a brawler that's really good. Like with a lot of the issues that Sonic games have with glitching and stuff, like it played really well. I never had an issue with glitching in Sonic Unleashed.
I think I just get the better versions of games because, like, I know that because you got the Wii one, which means it has the Wiimote waggling and things like that, and that's pretty annoying. But I played it on the PS3 and I didn't really have any
I
issues.
loved doing it with the Wiimote because you're just like sitting here smashing.
The only
people with
game
the
I
Wiimote.
played on the Wii that I'm like, I love the waggling was in Lego Star Wars because I'm swinging my lightsaber.
I played Lego. I kid you not. I 100%ed
That's another
Lego.
That's
Lego.
another linear, mostly linear.
That's
but
what I was
kind of
about to
open
mention
world
with the
game.
semi-linear, semi-open world was
Yeah.
Lego games.
Because it's like, do you have a
And
hub,
who
you have a
cares
hub
about the
world?
story? It's a Lego game.
Well, that's what I really liked about the fact is they try to convey the story without talking.
I actually
So it's
prefer
and they
incredibly
do a
dialogue.
fairly good job.
It's just funny.
I actually
Until
prefer
they
the
start
dialogue
talking.
when it comes to Lego games, but that's just me.
I mean, some of the later games where they talk, I think it's fine. It's just, but it's just kind of the charm of the fact that they try to convey the story of these movies, these PG-13 and sometimes up movies.
Yeah.
But as Legos.
Yeah, it's kind of funny, especially whenever you go to like the Pirates of the Caribbean.
Oh yeah.
That was that whenever they did the
Woo,
the
boy.
brothel, that was
I love this
masterpiece.
scene where it's like Darth Vader's trying to. It's like the "I am your father" scene. He's like, he's pointing at a picture, trying to explain it. Luke's just going,
What?
it's so it's so
what?
freaking funny. Other linear games that I've played that I've really enjoyed.
Let me take a look at my shelf right quick.
Ben 10. I've actually played several Ben 10 games.
Oh my god.
Al-
Okay, so
almost
here's,
exclusively on the PlayStation, and
well, 'cause
they're
that's where they're
all
the best.
all linear games.
Well, I think the idea of being able to the idea of Ben 10 being a game Ben 10 just lends so well,
Well, the interesting
to being a game.
well, the
because the
interesting-
ability to transform into all these different kinds of aliens
gives you incredible
and giving
versatility.
you
It gives you
different
incredible amount
like
of options.
having different sections that are like, oh, I need to be this to do this.
Well, it's very Metroidvania, because like almost always there's like a thing where it's like, oh no, there's a malfunction at the Omnitrix, which actually happened a lot in the show. So it's not just a video game contrivance; it happened on occasion in the actual shows. So there's precedence for it, considering it's the most powerful and complicated device ever created
and it's
within
being
that
held
lore.
by a
A
10-year-old child
or 16-year-old, depending on which
game you're playing.
you're. But it was Metroidvania because you would go, you have an alien for a certain section, and then you would unlock aliens as you went through the story, and then you could go back to explore. But for the most part, it was a linear map. It's just there were certain sections you could go and explore.
Wow, I'm starting to realize how many open world games.
You have there are so many open world games. Like it seems nowadays it's like any game that's not a
look,
sandbox
if
or
we're
a
going-
fucking shooter.
If we're going on the linear storytelling type thing, now not linear gameplay, but not linear storytelling. That's what I usually drive towards. Is like
What?
a lot of the games that I play are the interactive, like Life is Strange, Walking Dead,
That's still linear
Wolf Among Us.
storytelling.
Yeah,
Non-linear storytelling would be like a game that goes in the past and the future and then back again and around. That's non-linear storytelling.
different things provide different results.
So multiple choice, multiple ending.
Yeah, that's what I'm meaning.
Okay.
Yeah, that's not that's not open world. That's still.
I
very
never said
linear.
open world.
No, he's talking about linear story but branching narrative.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think there's a huge.
And I like games
Because
like that.
I
do.
am a big fan of these types of games. Like I said, Life is Strange.
I'm a big
Wolf
we-
Among
I'm a
Us,
big old
The
weenie
Walking
though.
Dead.
I always look up how to get the
I-
best
I-
ending
yeah.
and then do that. I don't
In Life is
I don't-
Strange, you
I
don't have to. You
I don't
just
play
rewind.
these. I don't play these blind. There are multiple endings. Which one's the best one? Okay, I'm going for that one, and
I
probably will
kid
never
you
play
not.
the
Life
game.
is Strange 2.
Only in Bloodborne did I go back and play every ending.
This is funny because Life is Strange 2, right? Life is Strange 2, one of my favorite games. One of my favorite games of all time. I love it. There's two mechanics in that game. There's your brotherhood mechanic and there's your morality mechanic, right? So you don't play as the kid. Like in Life is Strange 1, you play as Max, who has the ability to rewind time. In Life is Strange 2, you play as the older brother of a kid who has telekinesis. So you have to try to teach him how to... You have to try to balance the mechanics of, should I teach him right from wrong? Or should I
Defend him. for
defend
those
him
who
and make him believe in me? Or get him to... Or
believe in himself
and believe in himself. Yeah, exactly. You have to balance those decisions because the decisions you make actually do affect one of the four endings of the game. The meters that you build, it's not actually a meter because you don't actually get to see it, but the mechanics that you play as you play through the game, they can determine that. And
build
it
the
was
percentage,
funny
which is kinda
because there
important.
was one option. I shit you not. There was one. I got my first time playing through it. I got the worst possible ending because I went in blind. I was like, I'm gonna go in blind. I got the worst possible ending.
Yeah, I always try.
But
to go
it was only because, I shit you not, it was only because one option in the 5th episode at the very fucking beginning that I missed to get the Max Brotherhood with your brother.
Max brother,
have him-
Max brother with your brother? You don't say.
To have him not fuck around with a scorpion. And that's what determined me getting the worst possible fucking ending.
Okay. Before we end this podcast, there's one topic I really want to talk about that's very near and dear to my heart because it's where I get the warmth from my seething rage. Is games that offer you narrative choices that don't actually fucking matter. If the outcome is the same regardless, why give me a choice? I hate it so much. Now, Until Dawn is an interesting point because that game does have choices that matter, but some of them don't. Because no matter what you pick, the outcome is determined.
Yes.
On certain choices.
There's a lot of every game where you make choices has those certain things that just are going to happen no matter what.
Yeah, but here's the thing. There are certain games, like, for example, if the outcome is the same regardless, is there a secondary benefit? Like, for example...
I have to kill everyone at the end of this game, regardless of what I do, everyone still dies.
Well, I was going to say, like, for example, in Infamous. In Infamous, there's a choice later in the game, spoiler alert, where you have to choose either to save your girlfriend or save a bunch of doctors. And no matter which choice you pick, she dies. I don't get upset about that, though, is because the reason you make that choice is not to... It's because it affects your morality. It affects her opinion of you.
It's an exploration of Cole.
In her dying moments, you bring her back for just a second. And then depending on the choices you made up to that point, she either praises you or berates you, saying, I can't believe the monster you've become, or it's okay. I understand. You made the right choice, and I love you all the more for it. So yeah, no matter what you do, she dies, but there's another consequence. It's not whether or not she dies, it's, is Cole a man, or is he a monster?
That was a great... That was a great dialogue.
I'm not talking about. I'm not talking about those choices. I'm not talking about choices like that. I'm talking about games where, like, oh, you get to make choices and there's dialogue trees, but the end of the game is still the same.
Which one of these two people do you want to kill? Don't worry, you'll kill both of them anyway.
Okay, so like let's go with this. Like it
we're trying very hard to bounce around specific
I
concept.
do have that same problem, like with the
some of us have not played that game, and they really need to play that game.
A lot of Telltale games, like The Walking Dead, for example. Spoilers, you're not gonna play it.
I might.
Walking Dead, episode 2, right? You get to choose whether or not one of two people dies.
Mm-hmm.
You choose who you're gonna save or who you're gonna go after.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that choice actually matters because one of them actually does die, and there is consequences in the next game, in the third game. But no matter who you pick in the third game, one of them is that person who you chose dies. No matter who you picked.
Mm.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, no matter who I chose died, but I still got that time with them. And it's kind of like the whole thing with the Walking Dead series. It's like, you know all these characters are going to die, which is why I'm not upset about it.
Mm.
It's like, you know all these characters are going to die. It's the time that you spend with them that matters.
See, I thought it was interesting is Marvel's Ultimate Alliance, a game that I played on the PlayStation 2. As you progress through the story, there are certain choices you have to make. Like, for example, when you're in Mephisto's realm, you can save either Jean Grey or Nightcrawler, and there's a consequence to that. But you don't know any of the consequences until after the game is over.
Oh, Jean Grey, 100%.
Yeah, you don't know what's gonna happen. Like, for example, do you
Nightcrawler's fine.
do you take the time to help help some engineers in the helicarrier, or do you progress and stop the villain? Do you destroy the vial of Hulk blood in the Gamma base, or do you keep going? Do you save the Skrulls' planet from being devoured by Galactus, or do you leave them to their own device, their own choices? And as you play through the game, you're like, oh, okay, I guess it's just like it's just a bonus objective or whatever. It's like, no. At the end of the game, one of the Watchers is like, many choices were made, rocked this world to its core, and some of them. Would you like to see the consequences of your choices? And you're like, oh shit!
I think one of those games.
Why
again,
always
Like,
do
for example,
everything?
As an example, do you save Nightcrawler or Jean Grey? Well, if you save Nightcrawler, Jean Grey dies. And as a result, in her soul, the Phoenix Force awakens, and she comes to revenge all of the people who did not save her. If you save Jean Grey, Nightcrawler dies, which makes Mystique, his mother, furious with rage. So she kills Charles Xavier, which results in the X-Men disbanding. There are no good choice in that one. Basically, the choice determines which of these assholes do I want to fight in a boss fight.
I think one of the examples of a bad thing where the consequence doesn't matter. Again, in The Walking Dead, the first one though, in this one, Lee, the character you play as, right? He gets bitten. So you have two choices. Either to hide it or to cut your arm off. Now, of course, cutting your arm off, you would think, because like there are people that, you know, if you cut the arm off, the infection stays, but it doesn't matter because either way, at the end of that game, Lee turns. No matter what you chose, at the end of that game, Lee turns. So it's like, what was the fucking point?
What was the point of me going through the effort
now,
to cut my own arm off?
I think it does save itself a little bit in the fact of the emotions you feel while it's happening. What you feel while it's happening, you're not thinking about that. You're thinking, holy shit, this girl is going to have to shoot this man
or
that has taken care of her all this time, or leave him chained up to turn. Your immediate thoughts are on, what do I do? Do I kill him for mercy, or do I leave him to turn?
I think it's more the fact of it's do I kill him for mercy, or do I spare the little girl who's honestly already been through more than enough? The trauma of having to shoot a man she sees as a father.
Exactly.
This is true.
It's not a do I kill him out of mercy or do I leave him? There are no good choices here.
Which is why I think, like, when it comes to the Telltale gets a lot of shit for that, but it's like gets a lot of shit for like, oh, their choices don't matter, but a lot of the times it's like when it comes to these certain circumstances, there's reasons for it. Like there's reasons why I can see like that specific example. You're not thinking about
the Game of Thrones one.
I haven't played the Game of Thrones.
There's a Game of Thrones Telltale games you play as one of the noble families in the north when batshit crazy son is in charge. The bastard.
Oh, the blonde boy?
I am not tired!
Not him, but there's a batshit crazy bastard son of another.
I like that whole one where it's just...
Yeah. And I just slapped the king! Did my hand fall from my wrist? Tyrion was so great.
I shit you not. I've played The Walking Dead, The Wolf Among Us. I've played the fucking Back to the Future. I've played all the Telltale games with the exception of Batman.
I tend not to play games like that. I don't know what it is. It's just like the Telltale games, like those kind of games. I like games multiple choice.
I especially love.
I don't like games like that for some. I don't really know what it is. I'm just like.
I think one of my favorite ones is Tales from the Borderlands.
Even though Telltale went bankrupt and now
yeah.
Oh no.
They went bankrupt because they kept having to try to buy other people's properties to make games about, and they didn't sell well enough to keep doing it. So
I think it was funny because like they went bankrupt before the final Walking Dead was finished. So another company came in and was like, yeah, there's people actively wanting this game.
We'll finish this. We'll finish this.
Yeah. But
I am sad now.
Tales from the Borderlands, I think, is a prime example of Telltale done right, because Tales from the Borderlands is canon in the Borderlands universe. That story matters. Everything that happens in that story matters because it affects Borderlands 3.
All right, we've been rambled. We've been
rambling on for quite a while now.
There's probably going to be some more. Probably going to be quite a little bit shorter.
Join us next time.
Wait, hold on. Before we end this, Souls games, linear or open world?
They're linear.
Cool.
Okay.
Good to know we didn't. Oh damn it! I was hoping we
join us. Make sure to join us next time after Aaron plays Mass Effect 3.
All the maps.
Or after Aaron plays Mass Effect, and we talk about Mass Effect
just
over the course of 1 week, because that's totally going to happen.
No, I'm not going to.
We'll talk about Mass Effect eventually. I promise.
We will.
You're closer to beating Dragon Age than I am to beating Mass Effect. Do that, and then the pressure will be on me.
All right. Bet. After I play, I will beat Dragon Age specifically, so you will play Mass Effect.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
I have $10 on Aaron.
Well, you can't just be $10 because Kotick will never. Eventually, he'll get around to it.
Alrighty then. Just join us next time as we ramble on about
Aaron
some other
beats
subject.
Mass Effect before you finish 2, you owe me $10.
I don't want to do that. It's as in. I finished Mass Effect 1 before he beats Mass Effect 2.
Dragon Age 2.
Yes. That's what I meant. Correct.
Let's go with that. I like that.
That's unfair because Mass Effect 1 is short as fuck.
So is Dragon Age 2!
But you've already started Dragon Age 2.
Okay.
One,
well,
so is Dragon Age 2. Two, you've already started it.
all right. Just we'll discuss this more next time. Anyways, until next time, guys. I've been Kodig.
I have been Aaron.
And I'm Ryan.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
I got to you.